Coming up on Mountain News this morning, as sports start back up, several Kentucky cheerleading teams begin to hold this season's tryouts online. And one church in Clay County is moving back from lawn services to parking lot services after a recent spike in COVID-19 cases throughout eastern Kentucky.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lacey Roberts, and thank you for joining me on Mountain News this morning. Today is Monday, June 22nd, a new start to a week, and to bring in that week, we got some good sleep last night, at least I did with those showers. I walked outside, it feels a little muggy. We've been talking about that all morning. Let's bring in Brandon Robinson. Like you've been mentioning, today is a good day to have that weather app handy.
Absolutely. Just for a few stray showers today, be better to have it tomorrow with that cold front coming through. But it's always a handy app to have, and there's some video up there now that you'll be able to watch, get the forecast and all that. But this morning, not a whole lot of rain to track. We had some in the overnight hours, but things have calmed down a little bit. A few stray showers still around this morning. Temperatures, so yep, they're close to 70 in most locations this morning, and you factor in those dew points, it's sticky out there this morning for sure. 85 this afternoon, isolated chances for a stray shower or two. So nothing too major. And again, we'll see 20% or less, and basically a pop-up or two probably in the heat of the day after this morning. And we'll see those clouds of the morning give way to some sunshine by later today. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. And the coronavirus pandemic has claimed nearly 120,000 lives in the U.S. since February. And there are growing fears that a second wave of the virus is underway. But some experts say that the first one hasn't ended yet. Laura Podesta reports from New York.
More states, more cities, and more businesses are reopening, and more people are getting infected with the coronavirus.
We're seeing a resurgence in the South and the Southeast. They never really got rid of their epidemics.
COVID-19 cases have been rising in 21 states since early June. At least 10 recorded their highest 7-day average last week.
The challenge with exponential growth is everything looks okay until suddenly it doesn't.
The White House is now preparing for a potential resurgence of the disease later this year.
We are filling the stockpile in anticipation of a possible problem in the fall. We're doing everything we can beneath the surface, working as hard as we possibly can.
Florida reported more than 4,000 new cases on Saturday, a record for the state. Governor Ron DeSantis attributes it to more people being screened for the virus as they return to work.
You're seeing way more kind of widespread surveillance testing going on. So that's a big difference from where we were in the beginning of March.
Some experts believe the public needs to be reminded to practice basic infection control.
We should be encouraging people to wear face coverings, to stay at a distance, to avoid large gatherings, to use hand sanitizer or wash your hands. I mean, those are things that we know work.
On Sunday, the World Health Organization said the global number of coronavirus cases had jumped by over 183,000 during the previous 24 hours. It was the biggest one-day increase since the pandemic began. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
And the worldwide number of COVID-19 deaths is now estimated at more than 467,000. More than a quarter of them have been in the United States. And the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is planning to update its recommendation on masks. The CDC researchers have been conducting a scientific review about the masks during the coronavirus pandemic. Scientists wanted to study if masks protect people from contracting COVID-19, not just preventing them from spreading it. The CDC has already published guidance on its website. One recommendation says people should wear masks when they leave their home. And Governor Andy Beshear provided an update to COVID-19 numbers for Kentucky last night. He announced 117 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the state to 13,750. The governor also announced 2 new deaths. 526 Kentuckians have now lost their lives to the virus, and 3,530 people have recovered. And here in eastern Kentucky, multiple cases were confirmed this past weekend. On Saturday, health officials from the Kentucky River District Health Department reported 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19, both of which were in Perry County. Perry County now has 49 total confirmed cases. Officials in Bell, Harlan, and Knox counties also reported 1 new case each on Saturday. Bell County now has 6 cases total, where Harlan and Knox County have 18 and 15 respectively. And meanwhile, Pike County Health Department officials reported 9 new cases yesterday, bringing the county's total to 68 cases. This was the largest increase of the weekend. Floyd, Knott, and Whitley counties each reported 1 new case as well. For more information on COVID-19 in Eastern Kentucky, you can go to our website at WYMT.com. And as sports start to open back up, several cheerleading teams begin to hold the season's tryouts. WYMT's Madison program has more on the unique way some teams in the mountains have had their tryouts.
At Somerset High School, the cheerleaders represent the Briar Jumpers on and off the sidelines.
It's just the atmosphere, especially at Somerset, because all of the fans just really cheer on the community, and the girls are amazing.
As they not only cheer on their fellow Briar Jumpers, but compete as well.
In years past, you had weeks in the spring where you could run your clinics and your tryouts, where you could watch and evaluate girls on skills such as stunning, tumbling, motions, jumps.
But the start to this season was far from normal.
This year, we have not been able to see the kids since mid-March, and they've had to submit everything virtually.
Submitting their tryout videos from gyms, yards, and some even from the beach.
First, we had to video ourselves doing just a single toe touch, and then a double toe touch, and then your hardest standing your hardest running, tumbling, and then video yourself doing a cheer.
Although some things may be a little different now, they continue to look ahead.
Best part of cheering in high school is going to nationals with your team, going to Disney World and competing. But also just getting to practice, I really hope we can still do.
Ready to hit the cheer mat, working to live up to that Somerset name.
I think it's always been fun to go places, and people always, when they see our uniforms and they know our cheer, J-U-M-P, and that's really neat.
As they get set to jump into this year's season, in Somerset, Madison Program, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, several other schools have also held virtual tryouts, including Pulaski County High School. Now, back in March, we brought you a story of one local business closing its doors due to COVID-19. Air Raid Trampoline Park reopened its doors on Wednesday after being closed for the last 3 months. Their customers are excited about being back open, and Air Raid is adding extra precautions to ensure everyone's safety.
We have spacers on the floor showing people what 6 feet apart looks like. We have separated both sides of our counters where people check in, so we have people separated there. We have purchased 2 fogging systems, which is for extra cleaning, and this puts out a mist that kills viruses, including COVID-19 on contact. We've added 9 more hand sanitizing stations on top of what we already had.
Air Raid will start offering birthday parties on July 1st. And one church in Clay County is returning to parking lot services after a recent spike of COVID-19 cases in the county. Manchester Baptist Church has held a front lawn service for the past 2 Sundays. Church members wore masks and sat 6 feet apart from each other. But due to new COVID-19 cases, church leaders decided that it would be best to stop their front lawn services and move back to the community center's parking lot to make sure everyone stays safe.
We have many people who are members of our church that are in that the range of vulnerability, and so we just want to do everything we can to protect them. This is much more accommodating. We can have many more people here, and today's crowd was actually bigger than what we've had in the past. So we're happy. We wish we were all together. We can't be right now, and so we're just going to make the best of it.
Church leaders said that they will continue with parking lot services until the end of July, but that is subject to change if cases increase or decrease through the county. And COVID-19 numbers in Kentucky seem to have leveled off, but other places aren't as lucky. Cases are spiking along the southern coast where people are enjoying family vacations. Olivia Russell takes a look at the latest trends and how people can keep Kentucky's curve flat.
COVID doesn't take a vacation, and it's ready to pounce if you give it the opportunity.
As people travel around the country this summer, COVID-19 is traveling too. Some of the nation's latest hotspots are the hot vacation spots.
Like Texas, Florida, Arizona, Tampa is a really hot spot right now.
Dr. Ryan Stanton says it's okay to travel, but there's still a risk, and many people are ignoring health protocols.
We're seeing a lot of people who aren't doing masks, who aren't social distancing, who are basically acting like business as usual, and that's just asking for an issue when it comes to COVID.
One way to take control of safety measures and limit the amount of contacts you have is to travel by car. With low gas prices and a struggling economy right now, Lori Weaver Hawkins with AAA says a road trip is a great option.
In Kentucky, Governor Beshear has suggested it might be nice to see some of the sites within Kentucky and not have as extensive of a trip as usual.
And as you pack, remember some new essential items.
Be sure that you have adequate masks and gloves along, that you have hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, all of those items.
Overall, they say it's about common sense when people go on vacation, and they're hoping nobody brings the virus back to Kentucky.
We don't want you to shut everything down, but we also don't want you to invite COVID into your family.
In Lexington, Olivia Russell, WKYT.
AAA also recommends booking any trips through a travel agent. That way they can help you navigate new hotel policies or any last-minute cancelizations. And this morning, Kentucky is not offering walk-up unemployment help in Frankfort. We saw long lines at the Capitol throughout last week where social workers were able to assist more than 2,300 Kentuckians. Only folks who couldn't get in Friday and have appointments for today will be able to work with officials in Frankfort about those pending claims.
A little patchy dense fog here at 612 on this Monday morning. Jackson seeing a little bit there, and you see some coming into parts of south central and northern Kentucky there, but for the most part, just patchy is the key word here across our area. US 119 up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain, quiet this morning. As we take a look there, temperatures across the board in the upper 60s and low 70s, with the exception of Wise at 64, but it is humid out there. You'll definitely feel that as soon as you walk out the door. Mainly dry today. Again, a couple of stray showers to isolated showers possible. Cold front comes in. It starts to work rain in here later tonight and throughout the day tomorrow, and then maybe just a couple of chances for rain there on Wednesday, and then a slight cool down in the forecast as the next couple of days are in the 70s for daytime highs. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. And thanks for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, our investigative team takes a look at how one primary result in Virginia elections is creating uncertainty for November.